Day 87, March 28th, and today we're going to go through Joshua chapters 18 through chapter 19, verse 48, and this is approximately 1399 BC. The whole assembly of Israelites gathered at Shiloh and set up the tent of meeting there. The country was brought under their control, but there were still 7 Israelite tribes who had not yet received their inheritance. So Joshua said to the Israelites, "How long will you wait before you begin to take possession of the land that the Lord, the God your ancestors, has given you? Appoint 3 men from each tribe. I will send them out to make a survey of the land and write a description of it according to the inheritance of each. Then they will return to me. You are to divide the land into 7 parts. Judah is to remain in its territory on the south, and the tribes of Joseph in their territory on the north. After you have written descriptions of the 7 parts of the land, bring them here to me, and I will cast lots for you in the presence of the Lord. After you have written descriptions of the 7 parts of the land, bring them here to me, and I will cast lots for you in the presence of the Lord our God. The Levites, however, do not get a portion among you, because priestly service of the Lord is their inheritance. And Gad, Reuben, and the half-tribe of Manasseh have already received their inheritance on the east side of the Jordan. Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave it to them." As the men started on their way to map out the land, Joshua instructed them, "Go and make a survey of the land and write a description of it. Then return it to me, and I will cast lots for you here at Shiloh in the presence of the Lord." So the men left and went through the land. They wrote its description on a scroll, town by town, in 7 parts, and returned to Joshua in the camp at Shiloh. Joshua then cast lots for them in Shiloh in the presence of the Lord, and there he distributed the land to the Israelites according to their tribal divisions. The first lot came up for the tribe of Benjamin according to its clans. Their allotted territory lay between the tribes of Judah and Joseph. On the north side, their boundary began at the Jordan, passed the northern slope of Jericho, and headed west into the hill country, coming out at the wilderness of Beth-aven. From there across the south slope of Luz, that is Bethel, and went down to Ataroth-Adar on the hills south of lower Beth-horon. From the hill facing Beth-horon on the south, the boundary turned south along the western side and came out at Kiriath-Baal, that is Kiriath-Jearim, a town of the people of Judah. This was the western side. The southern side began at the outskirts of Kiriath-Jearim on the west, and the boundary came out at the springs of the waters of Naphtali. The boundary went down to the foot of the hill facing the valley of Ben-Hinnom, north of the valley of Rephaim. It continued down the Hinnom valley, along the southern slope of the Jebusite city, and so to En-Rogel. It then curved north, went to En-Shemesh, continued to Geliloth, which faces the pass of Adumim, and ran down to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. It continued to the northern slope of Beth-Arabah and on down into the Arabah. It then went to the northern slope of Beth-Hoglah and came out at the northern bay of the Dead Sea at the mouth of the Jordan in the south. This was the southern boundary. The Jordan framed the boundary on the east side. These were the boundaries that marked out the inheritance of the clans of Benjamin on all sides. The tribes of Benjamin, according to its clans, had the following towns: Jericho, Beth-Hoglah, Emek-Keziz, Beth-Arabah, Zemaraim, Bethel, Avim, Perah, Ophrah, Kephar Ammoni, Ophni, and Geba, 12 towns and their villages: Gibeon, Ramah, Beeroth, Mizpah, Kephirah, Moza, Rechem, Irpil, Terala, Zelah, Haleph, the Jebusite city, that is Jerusalem, Gibeah, and Kiriath, 14 towns and their villages. This was the inheritance of Benjamin for its clans. The second lot came out for the tribe of Simeon, according to its clans. Their inheritance lay within the territory of Judah. It included Beersheba or Sheba, Molada, Hazar-Shual, Bala, Ezim, El-Tolad, Bethul, Hormah, Ziklag, Beth-Markaboth, Hazar-Susa, Beth-Lebaoth, and Shurahan, 13 towns and their villages: Ain, Rimmon, Ether, and Ashan, 4 towns and their villages, and all the villages around these towns as far as Baalath Beer, Ramah in the Negev. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the Simeonites, according to its clans. The inheritance of the Simeonites was taken from the share of Judah, because Judah's portion was more than they needed. So the Simeonites received their inheritance within the territory of Judah. The third lot came up for Zebulun according to its clans. The boundary of their inheritance went as far as Sarid. Going west it ran to Maralah, touched Dabasheth, and extended to the ravine near Jokneam. It turned east from Sarid toward the sunrise to the territory of Kisloth Tabor, and went on to Dabarath and up to Japhia. Then it continued eastward toward Gath-Hepher and Eth-Kazin. It came out at Rimmon and returned toward Neah. There the boundary went around on the north to Hanathon and ended at the valley of Iphta-El. Included were Katath, Nahalol, Shimron, Idalah, and Bethlehem. There were 12 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of Zebulun according to its clans. The fourth lot came out for Issachar according to its clans. Their territory included Jezreel, Kesuloth, Shunem, Hapharaim, Shion, Anahereth, Rabith, Kishion, Ebez, Remeth, En-Ganim, and Hadah, and Beth-Pazez. The boundary touched Tabor, Shahazumah, and Beth-Shemesh, and ended at the Jordan. There were 16 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Issachar according to its clans. The fifth lot came out for the tribe of Asher according to its clans. Their territories included Helkath, Hali, Beaton, Akshaph, Alamelech, Amad, and Mishal. On the west, the boundary touched Carmel and Shihor-Libnath. It then turned east toward Beth-Dagon, touched Zebulun and the valley of Iphta-El, and went north to Beth-Emek and Neiel. Passing Kabul on the left, it went to Abdon, Rehob, Hammon, and Kanah, as far as Great Sidon. The boundary then turned back toward Ramah and went to the fortified city of Tyre, turned toward Hosa, and came out at the Mediterranean Sea in the region of Akzib, turned toward Hassa, and came out at the Mediterranean Sea in the region of Akzib, Umah, Aphek, and Rehob. There were 22 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Asher according to its clans. The sixth lot came out for Naphtali according to its clans. Their boundary went from Halef to the large tree in Zainanim, passing Adami Nakib and Jebneel to Lakum and ending at the Jordan. The boundary ran west through Asnoth Tabor and came out at Hukok. It touched Zebulun on the south, Asher on the west, and the Jordan on the east. The fortified towns were Zedim, Zer, Hamath, Rakkath, Kinnereth, Adamah, Ramah, Hazor, Kadesh, Edrei, and Hazor, Iran, Migdal-El, Horem, Bethanath, and Beth-Shemesh. There were 19 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Naphtali according to its clans. The seventh lot came out for the tribe of Dan according to its clans. The territory of their inheritance included Zorah, Eshtaol, Ir-Shemesh, Shelabin, Ajalon, Ithla, Elon, Timnah, Ekron, Eltekeh, Gibbethon, Baalath, Jehud, Bean-Barak, Gath-Rimmon, Mejarkon, and Rakkon, with the area facing Joppa. When the territory of the Danites was lost to them, they went up and attacked Leshem, took it, put it to the sword, and occupied it. They settled in Leshem and named it Dan, after their ancestor. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Dan, according to its clans. And that concludes today's reading. If you have thoughts to share or questions to ask, we do fellowship in Telegram and on the X community for the Chronological Bible Study. You can find links to those in the description. I really encourage everyone to ask questions. Don't hold back. No question is silly or stupid, and we're all learning. We're learning together. We want to help each other. We want to build up that fellowship. Thank you so much for listening to today's reading, and We will be back tomorrow with our next one. Have a blessed day, my friends.
While shepherds kept their watching over silent flocks by night, behold, throughout the heavens there shone a holy light. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born.